Yeah, let's talk about Real Madrid, right? These guys are scary. First of all, let me say big up to Atalanta, because I think Atalanta played an amazing game. They're a very good team. Or they played an amazing first half, I would say. They're a very, very well-coached team. Gasperini, one of the finest coaches Italy has on offer. They have a very good squad as well, too. Some very talented players, but they're just so organized. They just know each other well. They're well-coached. They're well-drilled. I think they deserve a lot of credit. Obviously, they destroyed Leverkusen in the final of the Europa League. And yesterday, there were opportunities for them to actually take the lead against Real Madrid. But one thing about Real Madrid, right? I said it on Twitter and I'll say it again. They age through 90-minute football games like a fine wine. Like as the game ages, Real Madrid just gets better and better and better and better and better. We've seen it so many times across the years, man. I mean, the Champions League final was an amazing example of that. Dortmund could have popped them 2-3-0 in the first half. But they're almost like a supercomputer in terms of they play the game, they start off slow, but the way they just analyze the opponent's flaws, weaknesses, strengths, their own weaknesses, their own strengths, and how they need to adapt to get into the game as the game actually goes is incredible. And they almost just problem solve on the fly. Ancelotti is, for me, damn it, he might be the best in-game manager ever. In terms of making tactical tweaks during the flow of a game, whether it's a substitution that he brings on to change the shape of his team, whether it's an actual tweak to his system, he just reads and understands the flow of a 90-minute game perfectly. And I feel bad for managers like Ancelotti a lot, right? And I have to be honest, I'm at fault for it because I used to not be a huge fan of Ancelotti. I used to, not that I thought he was a bad manager. He's an elite, all-time great manager. But I sometimes used to think, is he a little overrated? Because you look at his league record, he never won until the last few years, more than one league for each team he was at. His league record has never been great. In the Champions League, it's been very good, but isn't a league a better kind of representation of a great manager rather than knockout football? I used to think like that. But, as you get older, you start to reanalyze things and you learn and you just grow out of things, right? Ancelotti, I feel bad for him because I feel like he gets hit with the stick that if it doesn't work out, it's because tactically he's not great like Pep. And if it does work out, it's because he has the best players. I feel like a manager like Ancelotti can never win in the eyes of some football fans because they always have an excuse for no matter what happens. If his team doesn't win, it's like, Ancelotti has no tactics and it's all vibes and it didn't work out. And if he does win, it's, his players just made things up on the fly. It's all individuals. So what? Is he just kind of there, just basically hands in his pockets, chewing his gum, eyebrow up? We're not going to give Ancelotti any praise now. I don't think he's as tactically constraining on his team like a Pep or an Arteta or a De Zerbi. I would never argue that. But to act like Ancelotti tactically is some novice, I think is so disrespectful, bro. Honestly, I think it's so disrespectful, man. In terms of changing games on the fly and reading the flow of a game and understanding what needs to be done to regain his team the upper hand or get his team back into a game, I'm very much struggling to think of a manager that does it better than Ancelotti. And I think he did it again last night. Again, Real Madrid weren't great in the first half, but something changed in that second half, in the last 30 to 35 minutes. First of all, Jude Bellingham took control of that game. Now, Jude is a player that he really divides opinion a lot, right? Some people hate him, some people love him. I thought at times last year in the first half of the season, Bellingham was playing like the best player in the world at one point. He was that good. I think it started to slow down in the second half, especially in the Champions League. And at the Euros, I thought overall his net value was poor. I didn't think he was great in the Euros. I think he had great moments. I think he had a great game against Serbia, but I thought Jude was poor at the Euros. But last night, or whenever this is coming out, was a representation, a perfect representation of when you kind of give Jude Bellingham the right environment and put him in the right role, in the right system. This kid is damn near impossible at times. He's impossible to stop at times. The physical power that this guy has, mixed with the soft feet that he also possesses, the way he's able to shield the ball while also turning on the half turn and playing a player through on goal in one sudden swoop of emotion. There's not many players in world football that are able to do that. And again, I hear it. He's not everybody's cup of tea. There are things, in my opinion, that he needs to improve on, but let's not forget, he's 21 years old. Jude Bellingham is a 21-year-old. And I feel like sometimes we do analyze him and look at him as if he's 25, 26. And maybe it's the interviews, maybe it's the way he portrays himself, it's the way he speaks, but he's 21 years old. And chat, he's already one of the best players in the world. The kid is unreal. He's not my favorite player at times. I think sometimes he's frustrating, but he possesses undeniable quality. Undeniable quality. And the way I see people talking about him sometimes, it's like, you guys are hating on you guys are hating on, for me, one of the most guaranteed superstars, one of the most guaranteed all-time great players that I've seen in recent years. It's so obvious that Jude is going to go down as one of the best players of all time. It's so obvious to me. He has everything. He has everything, bro. But I thought yesterday, right, all the attention was on Mbappe. All the attention was on Vinicius. Valverde donning a new number. But I thought the star of the show last night was Jude Bellingham. Sensational. Now, Real Madrid had some issues. Kylian Mbappe, I think it's going to be a work in progress, figuring out that Mbappe-Vinicius combination. Rodrygo is another one as well, too. I keep saying it. I think he's a superstar waiting to explode, but it's not going to come on the right, in my opinion. I think Rodrygo, his full potential will only be reached when he finds a team that plays him on the left. But that's not the problem here. That left-hand side of Vinicius with Mbappe, right now they're trying to figure it out. We'll see how it kind of pans out. But Mbappe is not a back-to-goal striker. He's not a guy who's going to lead the line by himself. And at times, you even saw Real Madrid kind of shift into like a 4-4-2 where Jude occupied the left and Vinicius played up front with Mbappe. But I just feel like Mbappe, you're wasting his best attributes by playing him the way he was in the first half. I think in the second half, he started to free himself a bit more. The game started to open up. He found a lot more space in behind, which is really Mbappe's game at his best. But this whole dynamic is something that is going to make or break Real Madrid's season. If they are able, and it's a long season, we're going to have to see how it goes. But if they are able to find the right blend, the right dynamic between Mbappe and Vinicius, this team is going to be unstoppable. This team is going to be unstoppable because, bro, in transition, they're a freak show. They're a freak show. They have like 4 players that in transition are amongst the best in the world. And the only team that I can even look at that I think are on their level quality-wise or close to quality-wise is City. But City might actually just be a bad matchup for Madrid now. Because I actually think this Madrid team is going to struggle, if you even want to call it that, when teams sit deep against them, or when teams don't allow them the space in the final third, like Atalanta did yesterday. A team like City is going to want to dominate the ball, which is inevitably going to allow Madrid to want to play their best game, transition. And I'm sorry, Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrygo, Jude, Valverde, Güler, Endrick, all these guys coming off the bench in transition are going to rip teams apart. Real Madrid are a spooky team, man. They're a very spooky team. And I was telling Cam this morning, right? They're almost a little annoying because like the first season is usually supposed to be like the blending in season, like the figure it out season. There's supposed to be problems. There's supposed to be egos clashing. Like I remember Ronaldo's first season at Real Madrid. They didn't win anything. They lost to Lyon in the round of 16. They had to fire their manager, and then it worked out. This Madrid team might win a treble in their first year. Like, it's annoying, bro. It's not even annoying because, like, I'd rather them win the Champions League than Liverpool or City or Arsenal. Of course I would. But it's like, damn, bro. It's not supposed to be this easy. It's not supposed to be this perfect. There's supposed to be problems. Mbappe's supposed to be butting heads with Vinicius. Jude's not supposed to be happy with his role. Like, that's how football's supposed to work. Why is this team already insane already? It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Like, I'm actually hoping Barca this year give them a real go. I'd like to see it, but I just can't. I don't see any reality in which Real Madrid don't at least win the double this year. La Liga and Champions League. I just don't see the reality. Like, it just seems like it's all set up for another perfect, winning, faultless Real Madrid season. That's what happens when you're the best. One thing I will say as well, too, that they will need to kind of, it's going to be like something that they need to figure out on the fly. Replacing Toni Kroos. Because they have some brilliant players. And I think Camavinga was amongst the guys that were expected to kind of fill in that role that Kroos played. And obviously, he's going to be out for a few months. But they need that controller from deep. You have destroyers in there, you have ball carriers, you have runners in behind, you have dribblers. But every team needs that guy that he's not going to score, he's not going to probably assist either, but he just keeps the play ticking. He keeps it ticking. That was Toni Kroos for the longest time at Real Madrid. And I think Valverde and Tchouaméni tried to do that role, and they did an okay job, especially Fede. I love Fede. I think Fede is the most underrated player in world football. I think he's such a Swiss Army knife. But they're not Kroos. They never will be Kroos. And I think that's the next step that Real Madrid need to target in the window. Like, I see them going after Trent and Davies and Florian Wirtz and now Endrick. Like, nah, man. I think the next thing they need to find is who can be that natural successor to Toni Kroos in that Real Madrid team. Because players like him are the ones that allow everybody else to play at their max capacity. I don't dislike Madrid, but the world needs a round of 16 exit for the vibes. Low key, bro. Low key. Like, I'd rather Real Madrid win than any English team not named Man United. But, yo, it's too easy for them, man. It's too easy. If I was a Barcelona fan, I'd be sick to my stomach. If I supported Barca, I would actually genuinely be sick to my stomach.